This is not an in-depth explanation of RICO, it's just a quick waltz through the world of RICO. When Frankie the Beast Falanga was brought into the federal prosecutor's office, they told him he was going to be indicted under RICO, and like most people, he never heard of RICO at that time. And he flew into a rage, he jumped out of the chair, he said, "RICO, I don't even know no fucking RICO." He never made it to trial, by the way. He dropped dead of a heart attack. RICO is the Racketeering, Influence, Corrupt Organization Act. The great thing about this for federal prosecutors is that it allows for very long prison sentences if the government can prove that a gangster had a connection to a criminal enterprise or a commission that functioned as a criminal enterprise. In the 1970s, juries weren't convicting on RICO cases. The appeals court differed on different statutes used. But then in 1981, the Supreme Court stepped in. They resolved the disputes with a generous interpretation of federal law under RICO. In 1985, the biggest case of all, the commission case, was launched against 5 New York crime families. The top echelon gangsters in those groups were still astonished and outraged that they could be convicted under RICO by their very membership in the National Commission, but they all admitted to being part of the National Mafia Commission. It defined RICO. In 1986, the commission case concluded with the convictions of Fat Tony Salerno, Carmine Persico, Tony Corallo. Even John Gotti was acquitted in 1987 on 69 counts of federal racketeering conspiracy, but RICO nailed him 5 years later. The biggest test for RICO was the fact that it authorized the seizure of illicitly obtained wealth and its proceeds. So if RICO could take away the mobsters' bars, restaurants, all their companies, even their casinos, actually, that the mafia would collapse. It's a good theory. By the late 1990s, that matter was still in dispute by some who found evidence that the best financial accomplishments of the law were anecdotal. The catch was that RICO was being used in ways really never intended by the framers of the law. But this is reflected in the difficulty in fashioning a law against one group of people while you immunize the rest of us. Uh, so it's tricky. By the late 1980s, early 1990s, Justice Department revised RICO guidelines so that homes and businesses weren't confiscated in all cases, and innocent third parties weren't ruined by some zealous over enforcement of that law.